Second video. Alright. So, since the last video, I have merely just pulled up the documentation of Construct 2. I always have this open whenever I'm programming, just so I have reference in case I need to look something up. But Construct 2 isn't too complicated. I should be able to pull most of this off. No problem. So, let's open this up and set up our new project. So, just an empty project, and we're going to immediately turn around and save it in our project folder. So we have stuff in here. Yay. So, the first thing we need, obviously, is a title screen. So let's make a working title screen. I mean, I guess actually the first thing I need to do is set up the properties of the project, but I can do that. Oh shit, I already forgot how to do that. Preferences, maybe? No, not over here. Project properties. Well, that wasn't too difficult. So we have this nameless project, or I guess war clan war something or some other IDK. Version 0.1, because we haven't really started yet. ID dot no. Oh. Author is enter node. Email is GFY. Alright, the first layout is going to be layout 1, which will later be renamed to our title screen. We want the window size to be... Why is it such an awful... No. We want it to be 1280 by 720. What? Box. High quality is... What? That's... Okay. That should be good. Let's rename this. Can we rename this? Rename. This will be title screen. And this will be the same size as our screen, logically. Alright. So this will be title screen events. So start this off. Let's insert our text, which will be our title. I'm just going to set the text to a specific size. Maybe have it go across here. I don't know how. Name. Okay, no. Text. This will be called War of the Clans. Oh, we don't have to worry about the font right now. We want it center aligned. We want the font to be a little bigger than this. A little bigger than that. And let's add a subtitle. Text. Subtitle. We'll set the text to or something or some other IDK. We'll have it Oh, that's the wrong. That is the wrong object type. Goodbye. Okay. Text. Subtitle. And so we will have it center aligned with Arial 14, probably. And lastly, to make this at least functional, we're going to need a play button. So we're going to add a button, a play button. Name it play. Or type play. We'll make this a little bigger. I guess it's not possible to adjust the font of that. Um, is this okay? So it at least doesn't look too much shit. But of course, this doesn't do anything. So to set up we're going to set up a little demo layout, which will represent the test level, so we can screw around. We will say that at an event. So play button. Since we're hooking onto the play button, we want to say on clicked. Whenever this is clicked, we want to, under the system, we want to go to layout. We want to go to test level. So that whenever we launch this, we go to the level. Very simple. And what you just saw right there in that last 20 seconds is what we're going to do for the next 48 hours of our life. I don't know. Not consecutively, but I don't know how long this is going to take. So we have a nice little title screen. Don't want to spend too long screwing around on this. We will also set this to of 80 by 720. Or hold on. We will set it to 2540 by 720. Correct me if my math is wrong on that, but 1280 times 2 is 2560. That was so close. But so that we can kind of test scrolling. Now, in order to kind of try everything out, we're first going to have to build a new kind of build a level. So kind of the building block of a normal game will be sprites. So this will be an instance of just block, or maybe I guess you could call it static brush, or black box. So now we have an instance of black box. We can just fill tool it in black, and there we go. Now we have a black box. We can drag it down through this. Oh, hold on. What the hell is this? Tolerance 100. What are we doing? Control A delete. But okay. And do that again? Okay, whatever, I don't care. That's annoying, but whatever. Cool. That looks ugly, but we don't care. Now we're going to want a new instance of black box, except, whoa, not that size. We're going to have it over here. We're going to have it go to here. Just kind of making a box. Okay, copy paste that. Alright, it's over here. It's over here. I hope you're getting the hang of this. Okay. Copy and paste this. Very simple. It's not closed off, but that doesn't matter. So now what we can do, let's include a test player. So we'll have the player, and here we'll give them a size of, how do you size this? Resize this to, I will set the base just to be 64 by 64. Okay, so now we can just kind of draw the image of a person. Or like to, oh god. There we go. So now we have this. A single framed, I cut his head off. A horrible person. But obviously, if we go in here, just naming it player doesn't mean we can move him around. So let's attach a behavior to him that allows us to move him around. We will go right click him. I believe it is, oh no, it's right here. Behaviors. We'll add a behavior. It is platform. There we go. Now this we can move around this player. Obviously, if we run the event now, it's just gonna fall through the floor because we didn't define these as solid. So let us add a behavior to all of these black box instances that they are indeed solid. Easy enough. And this should, if I'm correct, apply to all instances of, yep, okay. So by default, Construct 2 integrates the arrow keys as movement. However, I hate using the arrow keys, so I'm going to define behavior for WASD. How we're going to do that is we're going to open the test level events. We're going to add an event, player, or no. First, we need to grab information from the keyboard by adding a keyboard object. This object is available to the entire project. Great. So, keyboard. Or key is down, I guess. Or on key pressed. This is going to be like D. Whenever D is pressed, we're going to want to say we want to simulate control. We want to go right. Okay. keyboard. I believe on key released we have to do we have to simulate? Or hold on, I think this is already wrong. Instead of on depressed, we will say key is down. D. And we'll do the same thing for the rest of them. Player, simulate control, on the left, and then we'll just copy and paste this once. Instead of A, W. And instead of left, we want jump. There we go. This should work. Let's go. Title screen, test level, or just go to the title screen, whatever. And then whenever we use WSD, we can simulate the control. So now we don't have to worry about having to use the terrible, terrible, terrible arrow keys to play a platformer. I mean, unless you're masturbating with your left hand, I guess that's the only time you would ever want to. And even then, I just deal with it and stick with my right. So, yeah, pretty much we can start building the level however we want. Have little doodads all over the place. And so have well, thanks. But this doesn't look very interesting here. We have a stagnant stick figure that's jumping around. How are we gonna have some animations here? So let's make some very basic animations here. First of all, we're going to need to edit the animations. We're just going to rename this to rename this to idle. And so this will be the first frame. Can we zoom in, please? Okay. So we'll add another frame. If I remember correctly, it is instead of this, we'll have his head bob up and down. Oh, instead of maybe we should use eraser instead. So it'll look very derpy, but we'll have it's slightly moving. Ah, fuck. Whatever. Don't care. So, I believe this right here will kind of set. So, we'll set it to 1. Set it to loop. I don't know why it's called ping pong, but it is, so that if we go ahead and run the layout, he's breathing. All right, that's nice for an idle animation, but how are we going to make walking animations? So let's edit our animations. We need a new animation. It is going to be called walk left or right, say. So we have this new animation. Actually, we should have just duplicated this. It'll be easier on us. So walk right. So we have these. I don't care about these. So let's take our eraser tool and just kind of delete you from existence. I only want to maintain your size. So we'll have the first frame be you. Being like this. Okay. Now I want to duplicate the frame. And instead of this, we'll delete this, erase this, kind of have him. I guess we can deal with the 2 frame. But instead I want to duplicate this to make this a little natural, and then duplicate this, but edit this to make, just to kind of demonstrate something. I wouldn't actually do this in a real game, but or I wouldn't, hopefully wouldn't use. I'm not gonna lie, this was supposed to be an arm and it just looks like a saggy tit. So, whatever. So now we can edit our animation. We want this to be about 10 frames per second. We want it to loop. We don't want it to ping pong. And here we go. I think hopefully that will demonstrate how that is, but we do need to change the animation. So I think I can actually ping the on moving, or is speed is falling, is moving, so that I can account for either WASD or walking. But I don't get the direction. Okay, never mind. So I'm just gonna have okay, I'll just hook these differently. So on key pressed, so that we only have to deal with this once. So whenever D is pressed, because we want whenever D is pressed, not while D is being held down. But we also want to account for arrow keys, so we'll have or should be somewhere. Add another condition, keyboard add another condition, and hold on. How did I do this before? Oh, make or block. There we go. On key pressed right arrow. So we're saying when either of these 2 actions happen, we want to change the player's animation to walk right from beginning. and whenever either the keyboards on key released, whenever this is done, we want to make this an OR block, add another condition, or key released, right arrow. We want to set the animation to idle. I believe those are spelled correctly. If not, we're going to get some errors. Now, if I remember correctly, if we want to, and we do, when we want to maybe reverse this, we'll duplicate this for walk left. Except instead of left, we want it to face right. So we'll go through each and every one of these and just flip them around. Alright, now all the properties of the animation are going to stay the same. But now we need to copy this and say instead of D, we want at A. Instead of right arrow, we want left. And instead of walk right, we want walk left. And we want these, we paste these. And instead of D, we want A. These, we want this. Okay. So now we can use either of the keys to do this. But I think there is a better way to do this. I'm actually going to do this in a better way. Hold on. So, alright, so here we are with day 2. Where the fuck did Construct 2 go? I did not mean to close that. Used to my other IDEs that load projects automatically. So I redid the movement code. Instead of relying on variables, it instead uses what animation is currently playing, and instead of having different animations for walking left and right, I instead just mirror the image. So if we were to go in here, I'll have this minimized so you can kind of see what's kind of happening here. In case you're curious, I don't think this code is too particularly complicated, but I condensed this code a little bit to simulate pressing right, whether or not we're holding D or right arrow. Technically, we don't actually need to do this part, but I want this code to run if the user decides to use the arrow keys. And under this code will only run if the above is true. It'll then check to see if it is mirrored. If we're facing the wrong direction, to change it to face the right direction. I didn't know you could actually do this, by the way. Little small little things. And the player, if it doesn't have a walking animation playing, then stop playing it. We say the same thing for walking left, except inverted. We check to see if the player is not moving, and if not, we stop him from playing the animation. And lastly, we check to see if he's airborne, aka not on the floor, and we don't have the jump animation playing, although I could probably optimize this a little bit so that I don't have this animation setting every time. Oh, fucking hell. That's lovely. I'm gonna do that about 5 more times this video. Run it. just to clarify, these letterboxing at the left and right, they are not actually solid objects. It's just so that I didn't have to scale weirdly. Alright. So this is all well and done. Until we go any further, I want to organize this a little bit. So what I can do, add a group. We'll call this controls. Controls player interaction between player and, I guess, the player character. Say this goes under here, and this goes under here. So that can go, don't have to worry about it. I could put this over here too. And for these two, they can go under a category. We'll call it, I guess, update, which will be update animations. We'll have very descriptive titles for these, so if we want to organize something later, we'll say, oh, I need to edit the controls or add something new. I go under here. I don't have to worry about the controls. So there we are. We've cleaned our code a little bit. Now let's brush up. I need to brush up on everything that I discussed yesterday. Thankfully, I have not in my documents folder. I just really revealed. What information did I reveal? Not a lot. My planning document. Go under game mechanics. We can kind of implement these. So, I guess these would be the first that I need to take care of. This player is kind of our template here. We're going to have all of our default values. So, we will say that the default speed will be here. Default speed 300. Is that fair? We can only know if we test it out. Why can't I move left anymore? What did I change? Hello. I broke something. Because I made this a sub on accident. But don't be difficult. What the fuck are you doing? That's kind of another thing I hate. Whatever. Basically, controls 300. Fair? Yes, it is. So, jump strength is actually based on the speed stat. I was going to make it so that if we changed the speed for any reason that the jump strength would change. But if we say made the jump strength equal to twice whatever the speed is. Oh, would this be fair? Kind of jumping 1.5 times your height. Interesting. And this would at least be fun. Alright, so I'll specify in here that will be double the speed stat. Okay. So attack speed and damage. Now obviously we don't have any of these that we could use. So we will add instance variables that will dictate our attack speed, which will be a number. How many attacks we can do per second, I guess? I'll say like 2. And attack damage, which will be some arbitrary number. So we'll also have health and mana. Alright. So 2 more variables. Health. We'll start off with the basic 100 and mana, which will also start off with the basic 100. In essence, it doesn't really matter what your base numbers for your health, mana, damage, and stuff is, as long as you make those initial values balanced against each other. Okay. And then you can just modify them as you please with what type of enemies you're dealing with. Alright, so now that we have those, we're going to want to have some sort of UI. Now, if we want to have a progress bar that shows our current health, put it here. We'll say it goes here. We'll have text on the top that says current health text. Put it up here. It's text. A little smaller. We'll just say health. Alright. Okay, that's all fine and good. Now we will need to hook up. I guess instead of animations, we'll say visuals. Or we'll instead add another group which is called HUD. I'll say we'll need a sub-event that player we don't want to say every frame, but we'll just okay, well first of all we'll say loadout. On start of layout, you will want to update the current health bar. We will set maximum to player dot cur dot health, since obviously at the start they will have maximum health. And we'll just say later when we define that they take damage, we'll update the health bar. So let's save that. now we have health bar. We didn't actually set the progress to 100, so we'll set the progress to 100. Or player.health. That's interesting. Am I stupid? Now I don't want to just edit this property directly. Oh, it's on end of lit. Good GG. There we go. Alright, now we have a health bar here, and we're going to encounter a little problem, is that when we walk away from the screen, we don't actually have the camera moving, but I'm going to implement that first, because I'll show you what the problem is, so you could probably guess that whenever we move the camera and walk off the screen, it's just going to... Alright. Nice that they give us a nice way to follow the player around. Alright, so now we'll set that up. We will walk away from our health bar. As you can see, we just gotta, oh, how much health do I have? Okay, let me go all the way back to the start. Okay, that's how much. Yeah, that would be kind of useless. So, we're going to, I think there was an easier way to do this, that you could, anchor, simple, right? I don't actually remember. So we have current health. Yeah, alright. That's simple. So we then do the same thing to the text. Alright. We'll likely use some other method for the UI in a later time, but for now, we will just use these very simple tools. Alright. What the fuck? Excuse me. Okay, that's interesting. Hello. I was wondering what the hell that was inside of my water cup, but then I realized it was water. Okay. I swear I'm saying. Alright, so now that we're updating our HUD, we can add the same for mana. We'll say on the right of the screen, which we can have right here, we want a mana bar. Current mana. Alright. So, also insert the text of just, I guess, current mana text. Okay, then we'll add the behaviors. Anchor. Anchor. There we go. I don't believe my last game had that problem, did it? No, I'm kind of tempted. So, what am I going to work on next? So I guess the next logical step would be for basic attacks. So how are we going to go about doing this? I'm actually going to rearrange these a little bit because they're bothering me a little bit. I think now we would be able to jump on top of them. Maybe if we were to just... Okay, so maybe if you hit a button, it would activate a hitbox, or create a hitbox, we'll say. But so, alright, so, well, might as well start at the beginning. Let's say when a key is pressed. Let's see. So we're using WASD by default. Actually, now there's no real way to do it if you're using the number pad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and forget about that, because the problem with using the number pad, not the number pad, the arrow keys, when you have like other important game mechanics. Maybe I could just set it to like Z, so if people wanted to use the number pad, they could use the left hand to kind of use the Z, X, and C keys. So we'll say, okay, but that's obviously not going to work on when you're trying to use the WASD keys. Instead, I'm going to use the mouse for that. So in this test level, we need to add the mouse object. So we'll make an OR block. Add another condition, mouse dot on click. Whenever the mouse button, left mouse button is clicked. Alright. So whenever any of these happens, we will initiate a basic move. So just, I'll add like kind of basic. Alright, so we'll add a subject condition, or a sub event that player is mirrored, or is not mirrored. In that case, we will want to, maybe we'll create, okay, so we'll need to make that an object. So it's our new object. We want a sprite. We're going to say it is player basic, or player attack hit box. So just kind of the test hitbox. Alright. It is going to not have, we'll give it a little bit of a sprite just to test it out. We'll obviously need to make a deduction later, but you need to test it. Alright, so we're going to resize it. We need it to be, so if you're attacking outward, I'll have the height be about 32 pixels, I think is generous, and the width will be, the width of the character is 64, I think, so 32 by 30? Hold on. Would that work? Just hold on. Edit the animations. Size this. So yeah, this is a 64 by 64. Okay. So we'll. This should be. (64 by 32). All right. So we will create a hitbox. We need to go system create object. It's going to be of type hitbox. Player attack hitbox. It is going to be on the default layer. It is going to be at player.x. We'll do some fancy math to adjust where this actually goes later. And player.y. We will wait for 0.2 seconds, and then we will delete it. So we need a way to reference this. So what we'll instead do is say, okay, we'll need another category. We will want logic, or maybe hit detection. So we'll add a sub event. Say player attack hitbox on created. We will want to wait. 0.2 seconds, and then delete it. Destroy it. Alright, and to kind of demonstrate this, we'll just kind of paint bucket this. White would not be a good color. Let's make it pink, whatever. Or magenta, I think that is. So that whenever we left click, we will see, oh, anywhere in the project. Okay. That's interesting. So add it in here so that it exists. I think it'll just disappear right as it's created anyways. So yeah, as you can see, it is very stingy for some reason. What is so stingy about this? Hold on. Oh, it only works if I'm moving left. I forgot about that. Okay. We'll adjust this so that it say extends outward player X plus 32. Okay, so we do need to make kind of a more obvious animation for his guy to make his idol kind of face in one direction. So we're just gonna kind of cut his arm off here. So by default he's facing right. Alright. Oh. So now we have that. There we go. That looks like you. Looks perfectly normal to me. Looks not retarded. So that I can kind of tell which direction he's facing, because he's only supposed to be facing one direction. He's not supposed to face the camera. Now we'll obviously need an attack cooldown. I didn't put this in the original. Yeah, I didn't. Attack speed, so. We will put a property on behaviors. So we're going to pin it to pin to object. We're going to pin it to player. When it is created. Okay. Here we go. Now the hitbox follows them around. Okay, so we'll set. So we do have an instance variable on the player that says attack speed. So we'll set that. Okay, and then we'll. We need another instance variable. So attack timer will be a number and it'll default to 0. So we will then set the player set value of attack timer to player dot attack speed. Alright, so we'll need to add a subcondition for this and say that player dot compare instance variable that attack timer is equal to 0. There we go. This is recording, right? Yep. Okay. So that we know that. Okay. I guess this might be a little extra imbalanced. Okay. The only thing I really need to do is copy this code over to work on. Actually, So now, no matter what direction we're facing in, we have a basic attack. I mean, it's such a fun platformer game, guys. You can't really fucking do shit. How did I get up there in the first place? What the hell? What? Excuse me. Okay, so it is pop. This is bizarre. So I wonder then if it's possible to get on top of there. Okay, I'm getting utterly distracted, but I don't give a shit. Probably not. Alright, so now we need to add in, before we go any further, a dummy. This will have special codes. It'll say, okay, so practice dummy. Okay, it'll be 64 by 64. And it'll look like a piece of shit. All the art I ever made looks like a piece of shit. So this giant piece of shit sitting on top of here. Let's give us the properties. Or behaviors. We'll say it is solid. No, it is. We don't want to say it has platformer policy or platformer. Hold on. I think I could disable. Okay, so if it has platform, no. So we cannot. So that we can't control it. So it'll just fall to the ground. I should probably also specify these two as solid. Right? And maybe move these around a little bit. So our sandbox is a little more fun. Just kind of want to see if this just falls to the ground. Okay. So now we want to specify that in this hit detection logic, we'll want to add an event, say, or practice dummy on collision with there should be collision on collision with another object. On collision with this, that we'll say it's a dummy, just destroy it for now so that we can kind of see how this works. So we can, there we go. See, this is the easiest game in the world. It's impossible. Okay. That matters to me. Okay. So now instead of that, we can say that this will have similar properties to the player. We need to edit its instance variables. It has its own health. It has health. It is a number. We'll say it has 100 health. And I just had a genius idea that instead of specifying the damage of the basic attack in the players, maybe, okay, no, what we'll do, the hitbox will have an instance variable of damage. It'll have type of number and it'll be initial to 0. That uncreated, it will be given set value of damage to player.attack damage. I hate that fucking. Okay, so instead of just destroying the object, we will say that the practice dummy health, or that set value of health, or change value, we'll subtract from health by negative player attack hitbox dot damage, or negative, positive. And then add a sub event that if practice dummy dot health, for instance, variable health is less than or equal to 0, that it will be destroyed. Goodbye. Alright, so hopefully the intended consequence of this is that it will destroy it by clicking it enough. There we go. Aha. I didn't give the mana bar any code. I just realized this. Did I? I probably should have a max health and mana variable, just for when I get into implementing healing. Destroy the shit. So, actually, I'm going to do that right now. So we will have player instance variables, max health, which will be 100, and max mana, which will also be 100. So maximum defined at max health. So maximum declared on max mana. So that player.mana can default to 0. Or just like, you get 25 to start off, but that's what we'll do. Do we want a separate instance variable for mana region? Very strange how this works. Whatever. So we have basic attacks set up. The special attacks I don't want to set up until we have individual characters, which will be coming later. What should I do next? Let's see. Attack speed, we have attack damage, we have speed, we have mana, we have health. It regenerates slowly over time. We do not have this implemented. So let's make one more instance variable. Try not to make this game too complicated, but mana regen. This will be every second it will regenerate 1 mana. So that's well, okay, we'll need to make another group. Just kind of like update shit. This is how I like to organize my shit. Alright, don't judge me. That's that group. I need to event. I want system every 1 second to player dot add to mana 1. Next, we should add a sub event at if player dot mana is mana is less than max mana. Player max mana. Well, I'd want to put not 1. We should add player dot mana region. There we go. But obviously our mana bar is not going to update, so we need to update it. We're gonna say the current mana dot set progress to player dot mana. So then we'll see it regenerate over time. We could go over more smoothly if we kind of said every 0.1 seconds. Oh, whatever. Every 0.1 to minute by 10. And then there we go. Alright. I don't want to mess with like too many animation details until I have like my first character implemented. So that brings a question. Do I want to implement the character first or the level first? Because implementing a level first would be more interesting, but I have to do the art for that, and it was like, alright. Well, I'll have a think about it. I think that's good enough for the second video. I will come back next time when I decide what I'm going to do. I'm either going to start implementing my first level or my first character. I will let you know when I decide what I have decided to do. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.